What's up, degenerates? Mad Merrigan here for Cold Bear Sports. And once again, I am joined by our good old friend from out west, Mickey D, the bookie basher, the man that legally bashed the bookies in York at the Ebor Festival. How's things, Mickey?
Not too bad. Had a good meeting in York, all right. We didn't put the bookies on a push bike yet, but we reduced a couple of them to 150 for a couple of weeks.
Well, listen, you played a blinder and picking the winner of the big one, causing them some hurt. Then we're coming on to Joe, the man that knows all about the value, been crushing the bookies for the last couple of weeks on the channel since he made a return. Some really, really nice winners. Joe, how's things?
Yeah, not bad, Paddy. Tipping along nicely, as you say, and looking forward to Saturday. Also looking forward to a one tomorrow. Now I'm going to have a right good ging at it. But yeah, it should be a good weekend.
Lovely job. Right, lads, we're going to have a quick look at the York, or not the York, Jeremy, the Haydock card, the Sprint Cup day. Really, really good race. But before we come to the big one, we'll kick it off. I think it starts with a listed race over a mile. Not a big field, but there's a lot of quality in this. I'll just come to you, Joe Value. Power of Beauty has some really nice form, triple time and improver, half vet 1 from 1, and Duke Box, his colours was lowered in that good race at the Curragh. Interesting enough, hard to get a handle on. What are you thinking here, Joe?
Yeah, it's small enough field, but very, very interesting race, as you say, Paddy. I like Jukebox as a horse, but he's coming back now first time after a gelding operation. So if you get the balls cut out of you, it might just take you a while to get used to it, you know. So in my opinion, the Charlie Appleby horse is the horse to beat. He had a couple of entries in it. You know, the horse that you tipped up there one time that won Frankel's Maiden at Newmarket, he was entered in this race as well. But for whatever reason, they're running half fit here. And I'm going to just take that hint. He was impressive enough last time at Newmarket. He's kind of learning on the job, and the horse that he beat called Razzle Dazzle, she absolutely pissed up since. So I'm more than happy to go with half fit. It's highly unoriginal selection, but I think he'll win.
Yeah, well bred by Dubawi. Mickey D, could you back the bushy, or could you bash the bookies here? It's tricky enough race.
Yeah, I give this race a pass, to be honest, Paddy, and I went on looking at from the 240 onwards, to be honest.
Yeah, it is a tricky one. I thought Power of Beauty definitely has some rock solid form, and it ran Charlie Appleby horse, I can't think of his name, ran him really strongly to the line the last day. Sweeping was well beaten back and forth, but it's a very tricky one, lads. Small stake stuff, and I would just be more kind of watching it on that side of it. Triple Time is a horse I tipped up before when he won. He's an improver, but I'm just going to, like Mickey D, maybe have a small few quid on the Parma horse, but not really get involved that much. Right, we'll move on then to what is a poor enough turnout. Lord Glitters heads the betting. We have the Betfair double daily rewards. Well, anyway, there's not too many here for the double daily. Madani, who was good in a handicap in Newbury, carried top weight then in York, ran okay, but will have to step up. Lord Glitters dropping back down to the mile after running in behind the real good horse, Real World, the last day. My Arboron, has some okay form, but he was well behind Lord Glitters the last day. What are you thinking here, Mickey D? I'll come to you first. Lord Glitters, a likeable horse, but a poor enough turnout. He heads the market.
Yeah, only 5 declared, which is poor enough. Yeah, 4 favourites in the last 10 years, and only one of those were bigger than 8-1, which was Top Notch Honto in 2013. Last year it was won by Top Rank, which was a decent horse for James Tate, 11-2. 3 3-year-olds in the last 10 years. But that doesn't affect us this year. My Oberon is rated 114, but it carries a £3 Group 3 penalty. Lord Glitters is a solid Group 2 horse, and it has run well in Group 1 company. It ran 4 times in the spring in Medan. It won 2 of those. I know it's an 8-year-old, but it is the form horse. But the problem is pace. Medani will probably go out in front. It takes Lord Glitters a long time to wind himself up, and when he gets going, then he can rattle home. But so I would favour Lord Glitters as the most consistent horse in the field, but trappy affair because it's just a short field or small field like.
Joe Value, I'll come to you. What are you thinking? Lord Glitters is tightening up at the head of the market, probably rightly so, because he has been running in all the good races. It looks like the rest of them have a lot of questions to answer. He's probably the more solid, but would you be with him at 11-8 or against him?
Definitely not with him. I do like Lord Overton here. If you stopped the race at York last time, shortly after turning in, say 2.5 furlongs out, Lord Overton is just coming into the race lovely, where Lord Glitters has been shaken up. As Mick was just after saying there, it does take him a while to get going. Lord Overton is trying first time blinkers, so they obviously think there's a bit more. He might be keeping a bit for himself. But I just thought the last day, when he was going to have a crack at Real World, now he wouldn't have bet Real World, I'm not saying he would, but when he was just making his move, he got a crack of a whip over the snot by a rival jockey, and he kind of just maybe just lost a bit of interest and got a bit sour. So, but I just thought for the furlong and a half of that straight that he was going every bit as well, if not better than Lord Glitters. They're dropping down a furlong on Saturday. Lord Overton, as first time blinkers, tripping ground, no problem. Tom Marquand takes the ride. He'll definitely do for me. My Overton.
Yeah, my Overton, yeah.
I'll be backing him to beat Lord Glitters and the rest of them.
Lovely job. Right, before I go on any further, Joe, just keep an eye on your signal. Make sure your signal is there. You're just cutting in and out on us there when you're talking. Right, personally, I think Lord Glitter's definitely likeable horse. He's getting on in years. I'm just going to take a chance on Maidani for the simple reason he was a good winner the last day in... it was in Goodwood. He ran okay under a monster burden weight, but I think he might just get a freebie here, and that might just give him another couple of pounds. What else? My Auburn definitely runs well, but the fact they're going for the blinkers, yeah, I'm sure it can bring out the improvement. He looked like he needed him. What about the Edward Bettel horse, the outsider as well? Has to step up a lot, but I'll take a chance with Maidani to maybe get a freebie and take a little bit of catching. Right, lads, we're going to move on then to a very interesting Class 2 handicap. This is over 1.6 miles. It's the My Odds boost on Betfair, and handicap over 1.6 miles for the stairs. Valley Forge, a real improver at the head of the betting for Andrew Baldwin, and then another Huey Morrison horse that's really on an upward curve as well. Anything standing out here? I'll come to you, Joe Value. Really interesting race, and tough enough, I thought.
Yeah, tough enough. I like that Vino Vectrix dog. I think he's going the right way. Huey Morrison. He's by Sir Percy, so he'll stay. Won't have any trouble with the ground. And I think he's a solid one in this. He's going forward. He's an improving horse. Vino Vectrix for me.
Mickey D, go on, bash the bookies for us. 3
favourites in the last 10 years. Only one horse was carrying more than 9 stone, and that was Mizzou, carrying 9 stone 6 in 2014. Valley Forge won the Melrose in York of 83, up £7 to 90. He didn't run as a 2-year-old. Has ran 5 times this year, winning 2. Vino Vitrix has, for Huey Morrison, 2 runs at 2, and both of them runs were in Linkfield. And that indicates that he needs good ground, or top of the ground. So he won well at Kempton the last time of 83. He's only up £4 for that. For a nice turn of foot. And viewers probably will know my good feeling for dirt to turf angle. So I'm on that Vino Victrix with Joe as well to beat Valley Forge. And a reverse forecast is recommendation as well.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to throw a little spanner in the works. I just like the horse. He's a little, not a massive price, but he was as big as the 16s. He's into around the 10-1 mark now. Contact. I like this horse. I would draw a line through its run the last day in Ascot. It was that Shergar Cup, is it? There was all them who was riding it? Millie McHale. I don't know who he is, but he was only Codden. But he had the horse very, very well out of its ground. And it was one of those races where it was on soft ground and you couldn't get into it. But this is the first time he's back on a bit of good ground, good to firm ground. And the last time he ran on good to firm ground, he absolutely, murdered the field in Pontefract. Now, it wasn't as strong as a race of this, but I'm prepared to give him one last chance. He ran very well in Ascot, only he was never put in the race. So I think he's a great each way bet, and I think he'd want to show it though Saturday. He's got everything back in his favour now Saturday, and I really think, look, someone else obviously thinks it because they're after clipping him from 16s into 10s. But all his form is on good ground, and if you watch his run in Pontefract, he absolutely took off. So he's definitely worth an each way bet, and he might be still improving himself, although he disappointed the last day through no fault of his own. The jockey was only Codden. Right, we'll move on to the 255, and this is another interesting race. I thought is the old Borough Cup at Haydock. What are you thinking here, lads? Definitely, I think it's a Charlie Appleby heads to betting again. Global Storm into 4-1. Rhythmic Intent, I thought, ran well. Sean Levy takes the ride for Stuart Williams. This ran well in York. Rajinsky as well ran a big race in York. Anything, I'll come to you here, Mickey D. Where does it lie with you here, Mickey?
Yeah, 12 declarations. Two favourites in the last 10 years. There has been 4 4-year-olds and 2 5-year-olds. Only 3 horses over 9 stone, and the 3 of them carried 9 stone 7, including last year's winner, Yukon Glen. Global Storm carries 9 stone 10, so it'll be a big ask to give that much weight away. He was last seen finishing 10th in the E-board behind Sonny Boy Liston, and he was previously second to Live Your Dream in Newmarket. Now, Rajinsky was 6th in that race and ran on well. He was very far back at the start. So he was last seen when he was second to Arcadian Sunrise at the Ebor meeting. That was at 2 mile. Ran on well again. Mark Johnson has 2 runners, so they probably will go out in front, at least one of them. If he doesn't get as far back, Rajinsky, as he did in the previous meeting, and he has a few pounds of a pull because Global Storm is up to 104, I think, and he ran that race off 100, and Rajinsky is on the same rating. So I thought Rajinsky was a solid each way bet at 7 or 8 to 1 in comparison with 7 to 2 or whatever for Global Storm with that big weight.
Joe, is Rajinsky the each way value trading around 7 to 1, or is there something else lurking at maybe a bigger price that might outrun?
Well, hopefully there's some. Yeah, hopefully there's something else lurking. The 255, Island Brave. He's around 12 to 1 there. Sylvester de Souza rides. He's plenty of solid form in the book. He liked the fast ground. Heather Main trains it. He's the only horse that's still a full horse. He hasn't been gelded or anything like that. Maybe they're going to stud after to win this with him. But no, on a serious note, I think 12 to 1. He's a fair each way bet there, and has his chance in an open race.
Yeah, I like him. I had 2 outsiders in this. I really like this horse. He was a dynamite winner in Newcastle before. Fine big horse as well, he is. And I'm going to give him an each way shout. He's around the 12 to 1, but I also am going to give an outsider a chance. He's actually the outsider of the field. Sextant, however you pronounce it. He was an extra Michael Stout horse, if my memory serves me correct. I'll just double check that. Yeah. And look, he's as big as 33 to 1, but I don't know. I'm just going to take a chance on him here. I just have a small inkling that he could run well, because I see Keith Dalglish's horse, Airlight Sunshine, is 11 to 1 in the betting. And I noticed that Callum Rodriguez, who always rides for these colours, doesn't ride that horse. He rides Sexton. Now, Sexton is a classy horse on his day. So if there's anything to go by, he's worth taking a little chance at a massive price, and he has some very good back form, albeit he'll need to step up on what he's done so far. So Island Brave each way for me here, and Sexton, 2 outsiders against the field, 2 massive prices, and maybe have a look at them for straight place bets or something like that. So we'll move on to the big one, Mickey D. Is Starman going to shine here? Heading the bet, and he's actually just gone a shade of odds on. Creative Force, will he run? The ground seems like it's going to be very quick. Art Power as well. Sylvester de Souza taking the ride, and 10-1 bar. Mickey D, I'll come to you because you have an old horse here that ran a blinder in your in the Nunthorpe.
This race has been won by 5 favourites in the last 10 years. Dream of Dreams was last year. 4 of the last 8 winners had run in the July Cup. They had finished 7th, 3rd, and 1st. Only 2 horses won this race at 111 or less in the last, both were 109, 107 in the last 12 years. Interesting here now, Soft has featured in the going description in the past 5 years. And if had been Soft this year, Starman wouldn't be running because Starman was pulled out. It needs top of the ground. It's the classiest horse. It is a sprinter of note. It's going places. So, as you said, I think previously, it's his to lose. People ask me, why did I pick Emirati Anna? That's the horse you may have mentioned. Well, that won the Gimcrack in 2018. As a 5-1 shot, and it was 5th in the Middle Park. It ran in the Irish Guineas and the English Guineas as a 3-year-old. It ran in a Group 2 in the start of the year, but it was out in front, and it chased the winner in a couple of races. But they seemed to change its tactics for the day in Hamilton, and it won in 57 seconds, and it seemed to run pretty much the same way the last day behind Winter Power. I backed it today at 30-1. And I give it a great chance to be 2nd or 3rd, because a lot of the other horses, you have Summergand and you have Art Power, you have Chill, and a few of those. And the Emirati Anna, the way it ran the last twice, and the times were fast, 57 seconds, and Winter Power won in 56 seconds, and it was finishing. And I give it a rocket of a chance to be placed. And without the favourite, you can get 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. So I've that done already, and I'm on at 30-1. I got an enhanced price this morning off the green bookie, so I'm happy.
So you're going to get the wheelbarrow if Emirati Anna falls in. Joe Value, I'll come to you. Is Starman value at a shade of odds on, or is, because he does look like, in fairness, on his runs in the UK this year, he'll be very hard to beat. I'll just say one thing before I go into let you have it, Joe. I was quite shocked they ran him in France over the extended distance on soft ground the last day. And could that come back and bite them? Joe Value.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised myself they ran him in France, but I don't think it'll leave much of a mark on him. You know, everything seems to be in his favour. He's just a bit boring. He's not even a selection. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the rest. I just think he's a bit different class, to be honest with you. And it's lovely to see a really, really good horse in action. And I'm going to just sit back and enjoy this lad probably win. Hopefully at that stage, Tom Kwan will be going for his 3rd winner of the afternoon.
Right, really, really interesting. Look, he's definitely the horse to beat. I'm just going to give a shout out to Chill. Chill could run well at a bigger price, but I just think Starman, he has the star quality. Will Creative Force run? Probably not if the ground is
probably not.
Probably not. So that'll make his case even stronger, to be honest. Creative Force is a really, really good horse, but he tends to be better on the soft.
Sorry, Paddy, can I just hop off, Paddy? Sorry for 1 second. Can I just hop off for 2 minutes? I want to refresh my internet and then just hop back on again.
Yeah, go on ahead.
Is that okay?
Or
will I just keep going? It's just, it's missing. Thanks.
So, yeah, coming back to Starman, he's definitely the horse to beat. But like I said, I was surprised they ran him in France on soft when they did talk all year about he wanted the good and they wouldn't run him on the soft. And like, I'm sure it's a really big race to want to go out and win it. I've no doubt about that. You can't really knock them for it. But I think back here under these conditions, he's the horse to beat. Mickey D with chill each way. Right, Mickey, we'll move on to the 405. So this is over the Flying 5, the Betfair Bee Friendly Handicap. A horse me and you both like here. Number 1, Atlas Bay, really nice horse. Stone of Destiny, Mountain Peak, Tone to the Baron, Jawal, a very fast horse. Jabberwocky, another horse, and the really likeable Copper Knight, and as well down the bottom there, Be Proud as well, another very likeable horse. Can our horse, Atlas Bay, carry the top weight and give these a beating, the improving 3-year-old?
Yeah, it's carrying 9 stone 9. If you look at his form, it's rock solid. Like, it won a listed race in Sandown in a minute, and that's a good time for a 5 furlong race with an uphill finish. That was in June when he won in Sandown, good to firm ground. And his previous run, he was second to Winter Power in a listed race in 58 seconds. And I know he's only a 3-year-old, but to win a 5 furlong race, you need to get from A to B the fastest. And I think that this could be the fastest.
I really like him. I think he's a sprinter of some substance. I can easily draw a line through Sandown, no problem. And I think he's just one of these horses that you get the feeling is going to end up a good one. And hopefully he can prove it. Now, he does have to give away a lot of weight, but in sprints, good horses can do it. And he is only 3, but we're coming to the end of the summer. We're not in the spring. So he's matured plenty. Yeah. And I think for me, he'll take all the beating. A quick word, Mickey, just on Copper Knight. What a lovely horse to go out and do it again in York. He scorched the turf in York and really toughed it out. Did you see him? Did you watch that race, Mickey?
Yeah. Tim Easterby nearly always gets him right for York every year. He used to be targets that meeting. There's a few of them there, like, there's a lot of the old reliables in it. I would imagine that take out Atlas Bay and it'd be very competitive because you wouldn't know which one you could go for, But I think Atlas Bay, if you're a form person, I am, and it has 1-2 listed races, it's actually down in class. It's given weight away, but it should be able to give the weight away because it's actually down in class, running in the handicap.
Yeah, and we still haven't seen the best of him. Mountain Peak was a nice enough winner, and Ascot disappointed the last time. And Jawal definitely been running in some very competitive races. Jawal could be his biggest danger, Mickey. Jawal is a very fast horse. He's just not finishing off, though. In York the last day, he looked to be coming there, but he just didn't see it out. But I think it's a small drop in class for Jawal as well now, I think. Compared to the big fields he ran in the last day. Right, we'll move on to the last chance saloon race, I call this. There's a lot of horses in here, Mickey. It's a handicap over a mile that I think are the last chance saloon. The likes of Gin Palace, definitely a horse that he'd want to be doing something fairly fast. Fast Medician, Peter Chappell, Hind Trains. This is an interesting horse, but he looks like he doesn't want to run. I see they have cheek pieces on him. I'd have went for the blinkers. I don't know why these trainers do waste their time with putting, like, they see a horse doesn't want to run a yard and we'll try the cheek pieces. Stick the blinkers on him. Dermot Weld is brilliant at doing it. Johnny Gosden is brilliant at doing it. Martin Pipe was brilliant at doing it. When the horse needs blinkers, forget about cheek pieces, So I'll leave it to you, Mickey D. Is there anything here gonna, make a claim that they're not over and done with? Because there's a few of them here need to step up and step up fast.
Seldom I give up on a race after a few minutes, but I did give up on this because I just thought it was a no-brainer for me. I had no angle into it at all.
Joe, value the 5:15, the last chance saloon race for a lot of horses. I see a horse here you've tipped up a couple of times. He ran okay. He was placed the last day. Chucky Dunedin. Anything sticking out? Are you going to stick with your lad Joe, or are you looking elsewhere?
I have to stick with him, yeah. Shawamek, yeah. they've been trying different trips with him, 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, and now up to a mile. But like, you know, they're riding him as to hold him up for the last minute. You know, I'd love them to say just bounce him out and make all here, or try to roll along in front. He's definitely a class angle in the race. If you look at his form from last year or even the year before, he ran a blinder there at Leopardstown on Champions Day in a much better race than this. But he is starting to become fairly frustrating. But I'll have to stick with him, Shamawek. You know, he's a horse that I know is going to win soon. So I'll just stick with him for this time as well. David Nolan is riding him now instead of Harrison Shaw. Whether that makes a difference or not, we'll find out.
Right, very, very interesting. I thought Perfect Swiss came right back to form the last day. Easterby having a great year. Finished second, just touched off, beating the neck. But look, the horse of Peter Chappell-Hines, he didn't really come down the hill in Leicester the last day. And to be honest, he looked like a bit of a horse that wasn't too fussed about putting in a big effort. But he did look like he had a bit more to give. And like I said before, they have stuck the cheek pieces on. But they should have just went for the blinkers. Like, it's a blind man could see the horse needs blinkers. Peter Chappell-Hine, who was a brilliant trainer back in the day, but he has a couple of nicely bred horses now coming through again, I see, in these colours. So maybe he can make a bit of a run back. But this horse definitely has ability. Can the cheek pieces eke out the improvement? I hope so, because I'm going to give him one last chance. And I think... yeah, if he had the blinkers, I'd fancy him, but he doesn't. He's the pieces on, so a little each way. And then Perfect Swiss, a quick mention, could outrun its odds. Right, lads, let's jump to Kempton, where we have a couple of group races. I think there are 2 Group 3s, one over 6 furlongs, one over a mile and 4. And it's a really interesting race for the fillies, Mickey. I'll come to you first, Mickey D. Did you get to go through this one? Wings of War heads the betting for Clive Cox. We also have or no, it's not for the fillies, sorry. It's for the Colts. The 6 furlongs, yeah, the 205. Group 3 for the Colts, right.
Colts and fillies, yeah.
Colts and fillies. Mickey D.
Three favourites in the last 10 years. Richard Hannon won it twice. There was only 2 higher prices than 10-1, and they were both at 12-1. The most interesting horse for me was Fearless Angel. It was 5th to Tardis in a listed race after winning first time out. Flotus was 6th in that race, and that came out the other day and hosed up in a listed race. Tardis is actually running in a Group 3 today, so we'll see how that form might stack up. And Fearless Angel is also entered in the Cheverly Park, which is a Group 1 race, so the first think highly of it. So that'll do for me.
Yes, Joe Value, a very, very interesting race. I just quick word on the Hugo Parma horse. That was a good winner the other day, because I tipped up a horse that was second to it. He kind of ran a bit green, but the winner definitely done well with a penalty. What do you think here, Joe?
It's an open race now. It's a very good nursery. It's a deep race. You know, I definitely respect Andrew Baldenhurst, Nymphadora, who was very impressive earlier on in the year, but her form doesn't seem to be quite as strong the last few runs. I'm going to take a chance with the Clive Cox horse here, Wings of War. I thought he was very impressive 2 starts back when he broke his maiden, and last time that was a very tough heat in York. Everrock, a good horse, one of Tom Daskin's, and this lad was bang there with them all the way. So I think he'll take plenty of beating. Wings of War, ridden by Hector Crouch. He's around 4-1. I think he's fair enough.
They're always hard to gauge, these races, because you just don't know what horses can improve or what they're beating. I'm going to take a little shot in the dark. It's not that much in the dark, actually, because it's into 5-1. But this Kevin Philippart Defoy, he's had a really good season with his juveniles. And this Scots Grace, now, look, the form of the race, you can't scream and shout about it, but this horse absolutely handled the track very well, and it bolted up. It looked very good. So I'm going to take a chance with Scots Grace, thinking that I don't know, it's hard to weigh up. The ones behind them were rated, I think, in the 77 or 78, but the filly could do nothing, only murdered them. So I'll take a chance on her in a really tricky race that maybe she can step up again, and on a surface she's proven on, maybe run a big race. Right, Mickey D, We're coming on to your old horse here at the head of the betting in the 240, and we see just in behind him the William Haggas horse being well backed, Hamish, which was taken out of the Ebor due to the ground. What do you think here, Mickey? Can your old friend
What horse?
Hukum?
Oh, every time you mention that, it's like relaxing in a Haydock's bath. I love that.
Hey,
there used to be an ad years ago on television, relax in a Haydock's bath, and they'd lie back this way. That's how I feel when I hear that word Hukum. Great horse.
Well, you'll have to buy a filly and head on to him when he goes to stud.
5 favourites of the last 10 years, and the other 5 are very short price: 2-1, 7-2, 6-1, and 7-1. Only one 3-year-old in the last 10 years. That was Jack Hobbs, John Gosden.
Yeah, the Irish Derby winner.
He won it the last 3 years with Enable twice, which was a prep for the Arc for Enable. Hukum carries a £3 Group 3 penalty, but in that race, that Group 3 race, he easily beat Outbox of level weights. He's won 3 out of 5 this year. The first one was over, his first run was over an adequate 10 furlongs at Sandown. Then he was third in the Hardwick to Wonderful Tonight. Then he won his last 2 over 1-5 and 1-6. He seems to go on any ground. First time out as the 2-year-old, he was second. And he broke his maiden in Kempton, beating Laser Show of Godolphins, which was a hot favourite that day.
Who was a good horse too.
He was eased down close home, so there's no problem. Like he ran on good to soft or softish ground behind Wonderful Tonight. He broke his maiden in Kempton, so it doesn't seem to matter. Hamish, you mentioned him there. He ran 6 times as a 3-year-old. He won 3 of them. He ran once as a 4-year-old last year. And he was 4th in the Hardwick in Royal Ascot on good to soft ground. He was withdrawn from the Ebor by the ground that had changed, it said. So they changed it. He seems to want cutting the ground. They're going to run him on good to firm. So will he run if it's really fast ground?
No, sure, it's on the all-weather, Mickey.
Oh, this is on the all-weather. That's a really fast ground in the all-weather, like, you know.
He'll definitely run. He'll definitely run in Kempton.
But Prince of Arran is in the race as well. That was placed in 2 Melbourne Cups over 2 miles. So that's sort of maybe a prep for that. So there's a small enough field. But I'd imagine the Hukum is even money in one betting shop today, 4-6 in another, 4-5 in another. So
I know which one you're heading to.
I have it on already.
It was a Jew that perched them in that far. Yeah, look, good strong words for Hukum. Joe Value, are you in agreement? Can Mickey D's Hukum do it again and supply Mickey with another month of Haydocks?
He looks to have only one. He looks to only have one Danger Hamish. Now you can back Hukum to beat the only Danger Hamish, or you can back Hamish at around the same price to beat the other 3. If you think it's a match, Hamish is actually 11-10 odds against without Hukum, which I think is a very solid bet. Outbox will probably be up there in front. They'll give him a lovely trail through. Hukum will be handy. They'll give Hamish a good something to aim at, and I'm sure it'll turn out to be a match. Hukum will kick first. Hamish will go after him. The 2 of them will draw clear. You're getting 11-10 Hamish without. You don't care what happens inside the last furlong. You're getting paid anyway. So my bet would be 11-10 Hamish without the favourites, without Hukum. I think that's a better bet than backing Hukum to actually beat Hamish, if you know what I mean.
Yes, well, I think I don't know who's going to win it, but I think if Hukum does, Mickey D will do away with the bat and get the jacuzzi.
Possibility.
No, listen, for me, it's a very simple. Hukum has been rock solid. Hamish, you're taking a chance that he's going to come back as good as he can be. Now, Hamish has really, really good form, but when you realistically, logically look at it, he is going to have to come back at his best to take down a horse who is no doubt at his best. Hukum is at his absolute best. So Hamish, however you pronounce it, will have to come. Now, there's no doubt about it. He boasts some really good form.
Yeah, he's a quality horse too.
He's a quality horse, but he will have to be. Would you just agree there? A quick one then. Would we all agree that he will have to be at his brilliant best to win this race?
Close to it, probably. Yeah, obviously close to it. But sure, he's going to be. He's going to be close to it. He was meant to run the Ebor and Haggis pulled him out because he just wasn't happy with the way the ground went. So he's going to be near peak fitness anyway, surely, you'd imagine. I think 11 to 10 without the gift. It should be a lot shorter.
I just think the way Hukum won the last 2 days, Hamish, if he's not at his brilliant best, it'll be an easy day for Hukum. But if he does come back at his brilliant best, I think he'll pull it up to him. But I just can't see past Hukum for now, just the way he's been these last couple of races. Anyway, we'll move on to the 3:15, the London Mile Series final. A quick word, lads, on this race from me. The real improving Thunderclap, a really good winner at the track the last twice. We have Safi Osborne taking over, getting a valuable 5 off. This horse going to have no lightweight, and surely he's going to take a lot of beating. Then we have Hold Fast. Ushin takes the ride here, and the Andrew Balding horse. Titanian Prince, Richard Hanna for Ross Ryan. Quick word from you there, Mickey, and then a quick word from you, Joe.
Yeah, there's four horses there that sort of really like Kempton. Hieronymus has ran 9 starts, 3 wins, and a second at Kempton. Thunderclap 5 starts at Kempton, 2 wins. Tahitian Prince 6 starts on the go, 2 wins, a second and a third. And Hold Fast 11 starts, 4 wins and a third. The race to focus on is last May. It was won by Tahitian Prince. He was rated 77, then he's 85 now. Hieronymus was 4th of 87 in that race. He's 87, so the gap has closed. There's only a few pounds between them. The time of that race was 1:37, which is pretty good for the handicappers of this quality. So I'd be taking a gamble on Hieronymus to turn the tables on Tahitian Prince in that race.
Joe, value.
Yeah, I like Fantasy Believer here. He's great record around Kempton. He has a habit of missing the break and all that, but he's 14 to 1. I think he's well worth taking a chance that he'll come out somewhere well out of stalls. If he comes out within two or three lengths of them, that 14 to 1 turns into a 5 to 1, 6 to 1 chance. I just fancy Believer. Give him a big chance around Kempton if he comes out of stalls in anyway proper form.
For me, I'm going to stick with Thunderclap. He was a really, really good winner the last day. He was raised 6 pounds or 6 or 7 pounds. Safi Osborne gets the 5 off. Hopefully there'll be a bit of pace in the race because he finishes off pretty classy. And I think he's a big improver and should take all the beating with that claim navigating the penalty. Right, lads, really, really interesting. Give us your best bets of Saturday between the two. I'll come to you first, Mickey, and if you have anything else, throw it in there, and then we'll come to Joe. Shout out there, Mickey. Give us your best bet for Saturday.
The prices. My best bet on Saturday is running in the 310 at Ascot, Warren. That's running in York. The race that Migration won. That was an all-age race. This is a 3-year-old only. I think it's 7 to 2, 130 favourite around that. The ground went against us sort of the last day when it rained. It's top of the ground tomorrow. Warren, I think, is my nap. And I give a great chance to Hannon in the 5:52 at Down Royal tomorrow as well. It's race 77 on the flat. It's 140 over hurdles. No thanks beat at the last year, but I think with Shane Foley in the saddle tomorrow, it might reverse. So there's 2 for the degenerates, and hopefully they might win.
Quick word, Joe. What's your bet of the day for Saturday?
Yeah, 255 at Haydock. Island Brave at the price of 12 to 1. I think it's a solid bet each way. Hamish 11 to 10 without Hukum. Great bet. I think that should be well odds on. And I'm going to have a winner for my followers on the Joe Value show. Runs in Down Royal tomorrow. It's one of my biggest bets of the year so far. Serious horse. Tune in for that.
Right, lovely job. I'll go with Thunderclap in the 3:15 at Kempton on Saturday for my bet of the day. I think it's a real improver, and hopefully it will get it done again under the brilliant Safi Osborne. Right, lads, thanks as always. And the time for Codden is over.